we are going to go over how to make a coil pot or cup. So coils are where you roll out your clay into snake-like, long pieces called coils. And with coils, you just are going to stack them, and that's how you're going to get your height. So to roll out a coil, you're just going to get your clay, and I like to go ahead and make it into kind of a log shape, just with my rolling it in between my palms. And then on your surface, once you get it there, you're gonna start rolling out almost like your hands are a rolling pin. So I don't really use my palms as much, I more use my fingers. And you're just gonna put a little bit of pressure down and start rolling out your clay. And so it starts to get longer. And we want this to stay round. So if it starts to get kind of boxy, just turn it on its side, and you can always pat down where it's a little boxy and keep going. And so with this, you're wanting to start with the middle and then go out. And once it starts to get a little long, I usually just cut mine in half, just it's easier to keep it consistent and even throughout rather than it getting too thick on one side or the other. So the key to this is wanting it to be even thickness all the way throughout. So if you need to cut it into smaller pieces, do that. Once it's pretty long and thin, you can start to kind of roll it in specific spots to even it out. And that's how you're gonna make a coil. So I already have some rolled out that I've done. And to make the bottom of your coil pot, we're just gonna take one coil and roll it like a cinnamon roll. So this is a good start. You can always add more if you want to be a wider base, or you can take it away if you want a smaller base. And then I'm just gonna smooth this out. So if you like the design of a coil, you can always keep, your swirl on one side, but I think at least on the inside, it should be smoothed out so you don't have any accidental cracks or anything like that. So you're just pushing the clay over, getting rid of those lines. And then I'll usually, just to make sure this is really even, I'll kind of pat down the table. So I'm gonna take my coil and wrap it around the bottom, get it this size, so it's gonna be like a ring that sits together, and that's gonna be our first buildup of the wall. And once I do that for all my coils, I'm gonna need to score and slip my coils together to make it like a ring. And I'm also going to want to score and slip the bottom of my cup, as well as the coil beneath. When we start building our walls at the bottom, it's just the bottom of the cup. And then I'm also gonna wanna score my actual coil. So there are tools out there that have scoring tools that have more, not just a single needle, and those could be a little easier for doing something where you're doing like a large coil pot, but a needle tool works just as well. And I'm gonna add a little bit of water into my scratch marks. If you're using stiffer clay, then I would use specifically slip rather than water. I prefer to make my coil cups when I'm rolling them out. I like to use fresher clay, and so a lot of times I'll just use a little bit of water, just because the clay is already so wet. So there is my first coil onto my cup, and now I'm gonna stack a bunch more. So I have stacked a few of my coils up. If you're wanting to do something smaller, then you can stop here, but really you can do different shapes for your coils, different shapes for your base. You can go however high you want. You can manipulate your cup once you've added the coils. But yeah, so if you like the coil look, then what I would do is just, you know, start to go in and clean up these marks, you know, with a tool or your finger, so that's not as messy from our scratch marks. If you are just going to stack tall, but you don't like the coil design, then you can start to take the clay from the top and smush it down. And you can do that all over your pot and just really smooth out that entire coil cup. So up to you if you're wanting it to be more of a smooth part rather than the coily part. You can see in this cup, I really went in and smoothed them out pretty well so that the coils look neat. But yeah, that's how you make a coil cup.